Siri, find me no.
What is it?
Find me no.
Bloopers.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Anthony.
And your girl Darlicia.
And we are
Teammenzie.
Teammenzie. And today, we got a very special treat for y'all.
We do?
We do.
What is it?
We are going to talk a little bit about effective communication in relationships.
You sure we should talk about this?
I think we need to address this.
Okay.
We need to be able to effectively communicate to our partner, spouse, friend, whoever it may be that you're in a relationship with.
This is true.
You need to know how to effectively communicate with them and know how they, I guess, receive communication. And so we can.
So you saying it's a way to receive communication just like it's a way to receive love?
Yes. Some people are wired differently, and
everybody's wired differently.
Okay, everybody's wired differently.
There you go.
So you need to figure out how to communicate to whatever person.
I already know where this is going.
Well, I figured we should start with a story.
Okay, what's the story?
And give you guys, that's what we want to do, give you guys some real life examples that we may go through to help us get stronger in this effective communication thing.
Okay, let's see what you got.
And so yesterday, we were watching a movie, sitting down on the couch.
2 days ago.
2 days ago?
Nope. Yesterday.
Anyway, we're sitting down on the couch, and Darlicia asked a question. She asked, are there any snacks around?
I wonder if there are any snacks. That's what I said.
That's a question
Okay, but it wasn't to him. I was thinking out loud. I wonder if there are any snacks here.
Okay, she said, I wonder if there are any snacks here.
Yep.
And I say, oh, I got some chips, I got some cookies, I got some candy. I got all this stuff, you know what I'm saying, which I shouldn't have, but I do have it. And gave her a plethora of options to choose from. And she didn't say anything to me.
I didn't.
Nothing at all.
We were watching the movie. I never asked him, did he have any snacks? I was thinking out loud and saying, man, I wonder if we have any snacks. And I didn't even say it like, man, I wonder if we have any snacks. I was like, man, I wonder if we have any snacks. Just out loud to myself. He heard it.
Hold on one second.
And he told... That's for you. And get your book out your nose while you at it.
Here you go.
Oh.
I need you to spray this. Here.
You spray it too. Effective communication. Anyways, he said, I got some chips, I got some cookies, and I got some gummy worms. And I'm just thinking like in my head, okay. But I did not say anything. So then, what happened?
So then I was like, being the husband that I am, wanting to fulfill her needs, you know what I'm saying? I told her what I had, and she didn't say nothing.
I didn't say anything.
And then
I said, after some time
passed away,
I said, yeah, that's what I want. Did I say, do you have or do we have? Is there any chocolate?
You said, I think
I want some chocolate.
Something like that.
That's what I said.
And I said, okay, I got some chocolate too. A chocolate Snicker bar in the car. You know what I'm saying? So you can have that if you want it. Well, I didn't say that part, but I just said I got the chocolate.
Right. Mind you, it's about 11 something at night.
Facts. And so, you didn't want that, or what you say?
I just thought some more.
She didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything.
And she just was pondering in her head.
I said, okay.
I felt like in that moment, she should have, from my perspective, she should have been sure of what she wanted before she posed the question.
But in my defense, there was no question originally posed to him. I was thinking out loud. But him being my husband, my provider, my man, of course he wants to meet my need, but I was never asking him a direct question. So in his mind, the fact that I verbalized, and I wonder if there's any snacks, he was already trying to figure out how to get me what I wanted when I never asked for it.
Right. So basically, I need to not be as good of a husband or something.
I wouldn't go that far. But the situation came up to where the word difficult came up. And me
Right.
being difficult.
Yes, I called it difficult.
He called me difficult. So we had a discussion about me being difficult and what that meant from his perspective.
Right.
So that I could offer some perspective being the person that's considered difficult.
Right, well, step one was making up in your mind that you want a snack. Step two is then coming out and saying, are there any snacks around? So that's my perspective. That's how I feel like that whole thing should have went from my perspective.
So he felt like I should not have verbalized anything unless I was sure that it was something that I wanted.
Right.
Okay. But for me, we had just gotten off a fast, and I had not had any meat, sweets, or treats in 21 days, and I knew that I was able to resist. And mind you, again, it's like 11 something at night, but I'm not on the fast anymore, and I can have some sweet treats and meat. Right. I can have it if I wanted it. But in my mind, I was going back and forth with myself saying, is it worth it? Do I really need it? Should I just resist? It's just a little bit. You just chilling out. Like, I was doing all of this processing internally. And so while I was being quiet when he was expecting a response, that's what I was doing.
Facts.
And so the fact that I was processing the way that I processed, he deemed me as being difficult because he didn't understand what I was doing.
Right. We did come to a solution. After a while.
But it wasn't a bad discussion. It was a really informative discussion.
It was really just informative, trying to figure out each other's perspective, how she looked at it and how I was looking at it. Came to an agreement or solution to next time if I ask her a question or in response to her question, to at least respond to me, you know, as opposed to not saying nothing and pondering internally.
Right. So he would prefer I say, let me think about it, I'll let you know. As opposed to me just thinking about it and processing. Even though I didn't ask a direct question, still considering him being my man, my provider, my husband, and wanting to take care of my needs, I need to take that into consideration and give that preface. I mean, let me think about it and I'll let you know.
Right. So I guess it got deep because we're two different people.
Yes.
And so you're going to fight these battles a lot in marriage. Just being different, the way you grew up, the way you think. Everything is not going to be the same. And while in my head, I was thinking that situation was small, you know, minimum, like just decide if you want a snack or not. Yeah. And then let me know what you want. So it's more of just straightforward for me. But from her side,
it's principle. Yeah. So for him, it's just very matter of fact, this is the thing, that's it. But for me, it's principle. And so it's the fact that I want to be able to process. I want to be able to think about my decision before I speak, because I'm not one that typically speaks before I think. Is that right? Yeah, I'm not one that typically speak before I think. I like to think before I speak. But for him, it was just like, just say if you want this candy or this chip or not. But for me, I'm like, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to figure out, weigh the pros and the cons of it all before I say anything, because I want to be a woman of my word.
It comes down to letting your friend, spouse, or whatever show like how they communicate in their own way.
And getting to know one another. Yeah. I mean, as you develop your relationship, you'll kind of discover, or you'll have intentional conversations like we did about how you would expect to receive or information or communicate. Right. So don't just make that assumption for that person because that's the way that you are. So that was another part of our discussion last night is we're very different, and the fact that we're different doesn't mean that I'm difficult. It just means that we're different. Because in the same way he can see me as difficult, I can see him as difficult, right? So he's very simple. Not simple-minded, but he's a very simple person, just like this, and this is all I need. But me, I'm very complex. And so for a complex person, simplicity may be difficult. For a simple person, complexity may be difficult. So from both perspectives, each person is difficult. So it's okay to accept your differences. Just come to a common ground and figure out how to work through those differences. Yeah,
and this is something, bring this up, and this is something kind of small, but it can show in bigger areas if you don't tackle those things early.
Right.
You know, yes, it was just snacks and chips, but the same way that we process went into that factor.
Right.
And so the way I processed it and then the way she processed it still went into that minimum situation. And then we need to be able to understand each other and tackle them at that level so that it can prepare us for, you know, bigger situations in the future.
Yeah, neither person's wrong. We just learned from the experience, and now we're able to better compromise and communicate.
Yep.
So that we're on the same page.
Yep.
So do we have like a question that we can ask them? Maybe do you guys have any examples of where this has happened, where you and your partner, your friend, your boss have communicated differently, but you didn't understand what was going on, and so something minor turned into something big? Let us know down in the comments, because we want to talk about that. We want to know, because it's real life stuff. It's very practical stuff that people don't really talk about before you get married or while you're dating or whatever, or even while you're not dating. What does that look like for you? How are you guys communicating? Where are you missing it?
Some practical solutions to help out in those situations is to, like she said first, is to try to think before you speak and try to process what's really going on in the situation before you react emotionally. Also, another thing to do is
put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Put yourself in the other person's shoes. That's important. Because it takes the eyes off you and the way you think and process, and allows you to see it from a different perspective
and appreciate it.
That and the other person. So those are two practical things that you can do in those situations that'll help you guys have peace in whatever relationship it is, and to take relationship to a new level. I think.
Just remain transparent with one another, and know that that person loves you, and they're not out to harm you. They're not out to talk down upon you most of the time. They're not out to do those things. So just keep a pure heart about it and see it from try your best to see it from their perspective, and then just come to that common ground.
Yeah, and communication is a big thing in relationships. This is just going to be part one for this effective communication with this situation. And when other stuff come up, I'm sure we'll make a video about it, and then we have some other ideas on some other communication videos. But we thank y'all for watching the video. We hope you learned something from it. Comment down, like she said, different things you want us to talk about, topics.
And give us some examples of your communication.
Yeah, and give us examples, and maybe we can shed some light. You can shed some light.
Yeah.
And we can talk back and forth and discuss. You know what I'm saying? We want to hear from y'all. So we appreciate it. We love you guys. And we'll see you later in the next video. Teammenzie out.